Hi guys, welcome to an epic adventure like no other. Three cyclists set out to ride 1,350 kilometers along the very edge of Sri Lanka's stunning coastline. Over the course of 11 days, they'll navigate through sand, water, and dense forests, exploring the breathtaking landscapes, rich culture, and unique geography of this island nation. Join us as we push the limits and discover the beauty of Sri Lanka from the known to the unknown. Let the journey begin. Let the journey begin. Our journey began in Kadawatha, a town just a few kilometers away from Colombo. After some time on the road, the three of us met up in Pallawarayankaddu. The plan for day one was ambitious, to cover 159 kilometers all the way to Ahangama. As the hours passed, the sun climbed higher, and we had to adjust our gear to handle the bright sunlight. It was just one of many challenges we'd face on the epic ride. Later, an unexpected downpour forced us to take shelter. We took this as an opportunity to have our breakfast while waiting out the rain. It was a moment of rest among the excitement of the journey. The start of our adventure quickly turned into a nightmare when disaster struck. As we were just beginning our journey, one of our bikes broke down. One of our friends accidentally stepped on the rim, causing it to buckle and rendering the bike almost unusable. With the entire tour ahead of us, we felt a surge of hopelessness and frustration. The road stretched out before us, and we were left grappling with the fear that our grand adventure might be cut short before it even began, but we managed to repair it. Despite the crushing blow of the broken rim, hope wasn't lost. We managed to get the rim repaired with the help of a local bike shop who worked quickly to fix our damaged wheel. With the bike back in action, we were finally able to set off on our journey. The relief and excitement of hitting the road again outweighed the earlier setback, and we plunged into our adventure with renewed determination. As the day came to an end, we arrived at our resting place in Ahangama. It provided everything we needed to recharge for the next stage of our adventure. Day one was just the beginning, and the road ahead promises even more excitement. With our gear packed and ready, we set off to Thissamaharamaya. The morning air was fresh, and the promise of a new day filled us with excitement. We relished the feeling of cycling through the sea breeze, energizing us as we continued along the coastal road. A few kilometers in, we decided to capture some digital memories before the sun rose and burned away. The beautiful blend of colors in the sky, the peaceful morning light was too perfect to miss. Kamburgamur, we decided to have our breakfast. It was the perfect place for cyclists to have a breakfast during a cross-country touring. About 26 kilometers from our starting point, we arrived in the famous city of Mannar. Passing through Ahangama, Mirissa and Mannar, we finally reached our Day 2 landmark, the Dondra Lighthouse. Standing tall since 1890, the Dondra Lighthouse is the tallest in Sri Lanka. We took a few moments to enjoy its majestic beauty and the stunning view it offered. After soaking in the sights, we continued our ride towards Thissamaharamaya. Along the way, we were caught in a heavy downpour once again, which soaked us completely. Every inch of our bodies felt the rain. But it was all part of the adventure. Having traveled hundreds of kilometers along the coast, we began to see the road turn inland, leading us into the countryside. On our way, we met a young boy who was amazed when he heard how far we had come. His surprise was reminding us of the magnitude of our journey and fueled us, determined us to keep going. Day 3 began with a refreshing start as we enjoyed some sweet watermelon early in the morning. Energized and ready, we set off towards Pothuwil. The roads were peaceful with less traffic, and we found ourselves cycling under the gracious shade of nature, a welcome relief in the warm weather. Before entering the Kajuwatta to Buttala road, we stopped to gather some information from the local police. Unfortunately, at the main entrance, the officer in charge denied access to proceed through the jungle due to occasional elephant attacks. So we had to load our bikes into a cab until we passed the area with the elephant threat. On the way, we decided to go to a special place, the Subasetgethara, which has a special story. There, we met Father Marius. In the heart of Buttala stands Subasetgethara, the House of Blessings. Founded in 1980 by Father Michael Rodrigo, it became a beacon of hope, nurturing the village with education, sustainable farming, and unity. Though Father Rodrigo's life was tragically cut short in 1987, his spirit endures. Today, the center continues to uplift the community, a testament to his unwavering commitment to justice and compassion. As we neared Monaragala, downhill roads allowed us to enjoy some fast-paced rides, a thrilling experience that brought a burst of adrenaline. After a mouth-watering lunch, graciously arranged by Father Ajit in Monaragala, we continued paddling towards our destination, Pothuvel. The journey was still challenging, but the sense of adventure kept us moving forward. Although we planned to reach Pothuvel yesterday, the temptation of experiencing the famous Lahugala National Park in the fresh morning light led us to end our day at Siyabalanduwa. So day 4 began here with the promise of new adventures ahead of us. It was absolutely worth staying in Siyabalanduwa. The magical colors and scents of the wildflowers in Lahugala National Park were a sight to behold, and the early morning air made the experience even more enchanting. Few kilometers after our breakfast, we came to a beautiful place, surrounded by kubuk trees and golden paddy fields stretched to the horizon. It had a unique geography. Though we had rested moments before, we stopped again, drawn in by the sheer beauty of the landscape. After exiting the forest, we resumed our journey towards Pothuwil, each pedal stroke bringing us closer to the coast. Even though we were only a few kilometers away from the lush green forest, the climate of the new stretch of road was completely different, a stark contrast that reminded us of Sri Lanka's diverse geography. As we continued riding towards Batticaloa, we faced strong headwinds that slowed us down, testing our endurance. Despite the challenge, we pushed forward, determined to reach our destination. To avoid heat strokes, we thought to have a rest for a few minutes. Not like at the south, a tree shade was hard to find here. Seeking a shade, we found an abandoned hut. While being wiped by the burning dry coastal wind, we had our rest. Passing the unique date palm tree line at Kathankudi town, we were heading fast towards Batticaloa. The three of us were planning to reward ourselves by having a mouth-watering dinner from the Hajjar hotel there. After a restful night's sleep, we set off on the 5th day of our journey, facing a daunting 150-kilometer ride towards the historic city of Trincomalee. Our day began with a glimpse of the legendary Kalladi Bridge. The view was breathtaking, an early reward for our efforts. But the beauty of the morning quickly gave way to challenges. From the very start, we struggled against fierce headwinds and the scorching sun, making every pedal stroke feel like a battle. For 5 relentless days, we now are paddling along the rugged eastern edge of the island, our wheels carving a path through unfamiliar terrain. By now, we barely have covered half of our journey, much like the middle age of life itself. And just as the phase comes with its trials, this stretch tested us in every possible way. Hunger troubled us, water was scarce. While moving in hunger, we met a vade seller. To our wonder, the vade was covered by sugar, and the name, as he told, was Keeravali. After enjoying the comfort and delicious food at Jungle Bay Resort in Trincomalee, we kicked off day 6 with a slightly easier 94-kilometer ride towards Mullaitivu. We fueled up with a humble meal at a roadside hotel near the Kandi Bridge. As we mounted our bikes once more, the salty breeze carried whispers of mystery from the nearby sea. Just 2 kilometers from this very bridge lies one of Sri Lanka's most famed secrets beneath the waves, a legendary wreck diving site where history sleeps beneath layers of coral and tide. Our route took us to the ancient Girihandusaya in Tiriyaya. Standing before this historic site, we couldn't help but feel a deep connection to the past. To cross the vast Kokilai lagoon, we took a boat, saving us nearly an hour of hard paddling. The boat ride gave us a much needed break and a chance to enjoy the beauty of the lagoon. As the day ended, we relaxed on the historic Mullaitivu beach. Under the soft moonlight, the peaceful scene became a cherished memory, a perfect end to our day. Today promised to be the climax of our entire cycling tour, filled with excitement and challenge. Rumors whirled about a mysterious route that would take us along the edge of Jaffna Peninsula, skirting the Chalai and Chundikulam lagoons instead of the usual A9 road. Eager for a true adventure, we decided to dive into the unknown and see if the rumors held true. With no idea of what lay ahead, we ventured into the uncharted territory. A group of locals relaxing under a tree caught our eye. Drawing closer, we realized they were sipping fresh toddy, cool, sweet, and tempting. Though we didn't share a language, a few smiles and gestures were enough. Understanding our thirst, they handed us bottles with laughter and kindness, refusing any payment. That moment was simple and unforgettable. The reality soon hit us. This area was a world apart, from the developed regions we had seen. The landscape was a harsh, barren expanse with little sign of civilization. For miles, we saw no one and nothing on this barren land. With no clear path ahead and no answers from the few locals we met early, barred by the silence of a language we didn't share, we simply followed the unknown. Then, like a hidden chapter in a journey, a narrow path appeared between the trees. Curiosity led the way. To our surprise, it opened up to a cluster of humble huts, home to a group of fishermen. They welcomed us with quiet smiles and stories. 10 months each year spent away from their families in the far south, living by the rhythm of the sea, offering us water with generosity that spoke louder than words. Refilled in body and soul, we pressed on. Even satellite images failed to show a clear path through the Chalai lagoon. When our phones finally picked up on a faint signal, we realized we were closing in on Chalai Lagoon. But there was still one question. We didn't know if it was even possible to cross it by cycle. With no certainty, only instinct, we pressed forward. And luck, or fate, was on our side. The year's light rain had left the lagoon dry. What remained was a vast stretch of soft, sinking sand. We pushed through, crossing what once would have been water, now turned to earth. Pedaling through the soft, shifting sand felt like slogging through a pudding. Each push of the pedals a battle against the elements.
මම ඉන්නේ පුදුමාකාර තැනක චලෙයි lagoon එකේ ඉඳන් චුන්ටිකුලම් lagoon එක වෙනකන් සයිකලේ ආවා. මේ පාරක් නැහැ. ඇත්තටම ගුරු පාරක් වැලිවල බීච් එකට ගියා. වැලිවල එරි මේ මෙතන මේ ජීවර ගම්මානයක් තියෙනවා. ඒකට ආව වතුර බොන්න. වතුරත් අපි ඉවර වෙලා. චුන්ටිකුලම් වලට තව කිලෝමීටර් 10ක් වගේ ඇති. මට හිතා ගන්න බෑ අපිට දැන කොහොම හරි අපි දැන් කැමත් නැහැ වතුරත් නැහැ. පුදුමාකාර තැනක තමයි මේ හිර වෙලා වගේ නතර වෙලා අපි ඉන්නේ. ජීවර ගම්මානේ කවුරුත් හිටියේ නැහැ. නිකම්ම නිකන් තල් ගසුයි නතරලා දාපු දේවල් තියෙනවා.
According to the satellite images, we could have taken a straight route from this point, but we chose to explore this challenging track to the end. Eventually, we encountered a few locals who had traveled from the distant village to see the lagoon. Just beyond the dried bed of the lagoon, we stumbled upon a group of young visitors, students from the University of Mullaitivu. As we struck up a conversation, we got to know that one of them was from a nearby village and the rest had come along to visit his home. Hearing about our spontaneous detour and lack of food and water, they didn't hesitate. With warmth and generosity, they shared what little they had packed for their own journey. We were speechless, moved by the kindness from complete strangers. Replenished and deeply grateful, we set off once more chasing the mysterious road that would lead us into the Jaffna Peninsula. At last, the whispers we'd heard along the way, the rumors of a hidden path proved true. We had found it, the secret, almost forgotten route into the Jaffna Peninsula. Most travelers take one of the two main roads, the A35 crossing the Sangupiti Bridge or the well-known A9 stretching from Kandy all the way to Jaffna. But not us. Our wheels carved through a wild, isolated jungle track, far from the highways and maps. No traffic, no signs, just the hum of our tires, the rustle of the trees. Who knows? Probably we might be the first who came by cycles along this pathway. Due to our unplanned 40-kilometer coastal detour and of course the growing fatigue, we tried to find a place to stay in the nearest town, Muruthakarn. However, with no accommodations available, we pressed on towards Point Pedro. Of the 3 bikes, only 2 had lights to cut through the deepening dusk, but the night air was cool, the road was open and our determination sharp. We pushed forward fast and focused, racing through the shadows towards Point Pedro, our next hope for shelter. We began day 8 with an unexpected twist of fate. A flat tire that struck just as we were about to hit the road. Using our portable pump, we managed to car a few kilometers. We decided to fix it in the northernmost point of Sri Lanka. We were prepared with spare tubes and a patch kit in our packs. We got to work. As we examined the tire, the culprit revealed itself. A rusty nail buried deep in the rubber. Maybe it had lost itself during yesterday's wild ride through the untamed jungle path from Kovel Junction. Who knows? What we did know was this. Fortune had favored us. The breakdown didn't happen in the barren stretches we'd already crossed. We had made it safely to our accommodation before trouble struck. We had lunch at a local shop and rested, hoping the sun would set and give us some relief. As we began our exit from Jaffna Peninsula, the journey took a different tone. This time, we followed one of the two main lifelines that link the peninsula to the mainland. While we had entered Jaffna through a forgotten jungle trail, crossing the silent stretches of Chundikulam and Chalai lagoons, turning off from Kovel Junction into Mullaitivu, our exit was more defined, yet no less striking. We now rolled along the A35, a route that cuts across the shallow, glimmering waters of the Jaffna Lagoon, leading us over the iconic Sangupiti Bridge. The day brought its own set of challenges. We faced relentless crosswinds and headwinds combined with the scorching sun. This combination drained our energy and slowed us down significantly, so we couldn't reach our destination, Mannar. Along the road, we spotted something unique to Jaffna: Palmyra water. Cool, earthly and unfamiliar. One quick sip, a taste of the north, and we were back on our saddles, chasing the wind once more. According to the plan, today's ride was supposed to take us all the way to Mannar, but reality had rewritten the script. Cycle breakdowns, unexpected detours, and relentless headwinds had pushed us 70 kilometers short. As the final rays of the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in fading gold, we paused. A quick team discussion. Do we chase the distance through the coming darkness or seek shelter in the nearest safe haven? The road ahead held no guarantees. In Punarin, another rim needed urgent repair, but we pressed on. As the darkness fell, we had no choice but to sleep on the roadside. This dusty little crossroad was named Jaipuran Junction. A public toilet, a lone water tank and a tiny grocery store was all it had. We grabbed what we could and stole a rough, cold bath from the tank. Survivor stripped to the basics. In Pallawarayankaddu, we found a bus stop next to an army barrack. With the help of friendly soldiers, we set up our makeshift camp. The night was tough. Constant noise from passing vehicles, bone-chilling cold, limited food, and the relentless wind made sleep nearly impossible. After a hard ride and barely any sleep, we were up before first light as the bus halt began to come alive. With the help of the police, we'd met a local who took our rim for repairs. We had to wait a few hours for him to return with a fixed rim before we could continue. At the middle of the junction stood a statue, King Pallawarayan, cast in stone and legend, said to have ruled in the 10th century. He was a symbol of fierce bravery. His presence still watches over the crossroads like a whisper from a warrior's past. There was one stretch we'd rather forget. It was this: 16 brutal kilometers of unforgiving concrete. Unlike the tarmac, this road turned every rotation into a trembling. Our bikes rattled, our bones ached, and the vibrations crept deep into our core, harder than the jungle detour in Mullaitivu. Knowing the journey was about to get more challenging, we decided to pause in Mannar. The relentless struggle and sleep deprivation had left us drained. Given the tough night we'd endured, we needed to recover and recharge for the long distances ahead. After a refreshing rest, we set out for Nochchiyagama, eager to tackle the day's ride. Our journey took us to the historic Doric bungalow, a notable archaeological site once belonging to the first governor, Frederick North. Standing before this grand structure, we marveled at its history. Just when we thought we were making progress, disaster struck again in Siyabalanduwa. Another flat tire. Our spirits sank as we realized there were no replacement tires of that size available in this tiny town. Feeling helpless, we braced ourselves for the worst. But then, in a stroke of luck, some incredibly friendly locals came to our rescue. They rallied around us, helping us to repair the tire and turning our bleak situation into a heartwarming moment of unexpected kindness. As our previous detour in Mullaitivu, we chose to avoid the A14 road and instead took a rugged off-road path through Kajuwatta and Wilpattu National Park. This challenging 30-kilometer above stretch tested our endurance. This was named Kajuwatta Road because the rugged track is cutting through a vast 6,000-acre cashew plantation run by the Civil Security Division. The air was thick with the scent of raw earth and cashew bark. This wasn't just a road, it was the wild backdoor to Wilpattu. At its end from Kajuwatta, the trail veered through the Wilpattu National Park, a path untouched by public transport, silent and raw. We had 30 kilometers ahead through this no man's land, hoping to reach Nochchiyagama before the night swallowed the forest. Cycling through Wilpattu National Park was nothing short of an epic challenge. The terrain was brutally rough and the sun blazed down mercilessly, testing our limits like never before. Every pedal stroke felt like a battle against nature itself. Despite the grueling conditions and the sheer fatigue, the experience was unforgettable. We pushed ourselves to the edge, and though it was incredibly tough, the raw beauty and adventure of the park made it a moment we'll always treasure. In the heart of the park, we discovered a wildlife bungalow where we gratefully reloaded our water supplies, a small haven in our demanding journey.
මුළු ස්ට්‍රෙච් එකම අහුවෙනවනේ. අතන කොන්ටේනර් එකක් ඩිංගා ගෙනියමු.
Today was our final day, and the challenge was daunting. 167 kilometers in a single ride. Yet, the thought of seeing our loved ones kept us going, giving us the strength to push through. As we neared the end of our journey, we were greeted with one last surprise. Our friend Amar, along with his extreme MC friends on motorcycles, came to escort us home. It was the perfect ending to our adventure. The road had been long and challenging, but the stunning sights, new friendships, and shared experiences made this ride truly unforgettable. As we completed our 1,350-kilometer journey around Sri Lanka, we felt a deep sense of achievement and joy, knowing we'd created memories that would last a lifetime.
Come here.